As a marketer myself, and as somebody who has hired but also outsourced lots of people, is a good question. And I get this question actually asked a lot for people: is what to do when you can't afford a marketer? All kinds of cool intros made by my marketeer, and that's not here. But yeah, what would you do? And that's for me something is it's hard to explain because obviously I can do the majority of the things that I need to do and then help me operate what I want to achieve. But that's not always the case for everyone. And in some cases, you might be paying somebody for things that are quite simple, to be honest. And um, they might be not so simple if you don't know what you're doing, but that doesn't mean that you can't be learned, or that doesn't mean that you can't take the time yourself to figure out, okay, what can we do? Two principles I want to bring with you today is what to do when you can't find a good or what to do if you can't afford a marketer. It's probably sell more products or make a better product or save money. That's the most simplest way, because believe me, you want to have capable resources to be able to help you, which is part two. But let's say you can't do this, then think of all the ways, if you're a business owner, all the ways that you've already created revenue so far. Where did those people come from? How did they interact or figure out or know about what you do, or how were they able to find you through the gamut of options available? And how can you reproduce that? It's very simple. You just look at what have you already done that created success, how can we replicate that success, and then before you know it, if you start creating success, you already would need to you would need to find budget to hire somebody. Defining a marketeer might be a little bit harder because it's a lot of different jobs that can be under the same hat. But in most cases, for me, a marketeer is really somebody who takes marketing strategy and direct response marketing into what you're already doing. So they really, uh, they're not going to be fluff posting on social media or stuff like that, which you could count under the whole marketing gamut, but that's something that I would not look at. So if I'm literally pinpointing for you, if you can afford somebody who can really drive strategy and who can really drive direct response based on what you're already doing. So again, trying to be as overarching for everyone. If you have a retail or a local, or you're trying to sell a product, look at who you already have successfully converted into your gospel. What was the way medium that they have been coming in contact with you, and how can you reproduce that? So if you understand, in some cases that might be face-to-face one-on-one conversations, those are hard to reproduce, but how can we reproduce that then in maybe a digital fashion or a letter fashion or in an advertisement fashion or in a written pamphlet or something like that, so you can still replicate that. In most cases, if you hire a great marketeer, they would need to understand your business and your market and your topic deeply anyway. So more likely you're able to be your better you be able to be a better marketeer if you're already in the scene, because you know the words, you know the problems, you know exactly what's going on, and that's going to help you um, actually become a better sales agent. Marketing is nothing more than uh, converting sales into something that can be spread further than just one person and one person conversation. So it's really getting people to want to have a conversation with you or one of your employees or whomever that might be. If you can't afford it, I would, and that's part two, I would definitely look at too, would it make sense to think of this principle? And again, thanks Dan Sullivan for explaining this to me. Who, not how. So instead of looking at how should I do it, which is something as an entrepreneur you're going to immediately jump into because you want to solve problems, fine. But that's not always the most lucrative task that you can do as a human or as a real or as an entrepreneur, as an owner of a business. or a builder of a business. Because in many cases, you can do something, but somebody else does it much more faster, more efficient, better, depending on their skill set, their level of expertise, and their background. And that's something where you have to look at yourself, as in, if I would do my taxes, or if I would do my bookkeeping, or paint my house, for example, things I would not get energy from, things I would probably want to procrastinate, and things that if I do them compared to my hourly rate, I could probably hire somebody cheaper to do that for me. Again, if I would do it, I can probably, and if I can do it at my hourly rate, and I would look at somebody who can do it cheaper than me or faster than me, maybe also resulting into cheaper, it's not my best use of time. And this is a concept that you have to look at for yourself. If you're a business owner, you're going to have to wear many hats, and you're going to have to solve all kinds of problems. Some of the problems that you have to solve, you don't want to solve. You might only want to solve them by hiring them, hiring somebody to fix the problem for you. In many cases, you do this already. You go to a hairdresser. I assume your trash is being picked up. I assume your food is grown for you, and in some cases that might not be the case, but you've effectively outsourced them through a medium, so the supermarket in this case. But that doesn't mean that you can't outsource exactly the same. So answering your question, what should I do if I can't afford to hire a marketeer, is save money, so that you can find a who to fix the how for you. Because the how principle and learning it is not in your effective interest, unless you get enormously excited about marketing and advertisement and building these things. You have a background in it. Other than that, for anyone who doesn't want to do that, take that activity and find it to put in somewhere else, and find and put somewhere else who can do that faster, better, prettier, more expensive than you, and at such a rate that you don't have to do it. So now you have the time and activities to do other things. I don't think that answers your question on what to do when you want to hire a marketer but you can't afford one. But I don't think anything in life is an expense. It's always an investment. And this is something that you really should invest in. If you look at your business, or if you look at your venture you want to go into, they will be persuaded by sales and marketing. And if you're not hiring people in that field, and you're hiring people somewhere else to do other things that maybe are technicalities or delivering or operationals, and you don't have a floodgate of cash coming in, then I would save and put that into an investment, so that you can find somebody who can open up the floodgate. Because once that floodgate is open, it solves all kinds of other problems. So that's it. Find your who's, don't find hows.